there is a story in the Bible about this guy named Moses. And God started a conversation with him in the desert. And the first question he asked him was, what do you got in your hand? And Moses was a shepherd, and he had a shepherd's staff in his hand, which represented three things. First, his identity. He was a shepherd. That was his profession. Second, his income, all the sheep he had, that's all the money he had. And the third, his influence, because he could either poke the sheep with the staff or pull it with a crook. And when I woke up this morning and started writing the speech, for some reason I remember my childhood. And remember, as growing up as a kid, I always want to be this athlete, you see on TV or on the cover of the magazine. And I started, going to the swimming class, I think when it was like 3 or 4. That didn't work out for me. And then I tried to play a little bit of soccer, with the kids outside the street. And with my perfectly cricket fit, that didn't work either. And then I remember at the age of 5, my dad took me to the martial art class, Taekwondo in particular, and I loved it because you could punch someone in the face and it was completely fine, So I started going, really enjoyed it, and in a couple of years I started competing, at some local championships and winning 3rd, 2nd, 1st places. And at the age of 11, I was competing at the national championship. And I won it, and the people, so that made me go on a national team representing my country next year at the World Cup in Italy. And I remember myself as a kid at 12 years old in Rimini, Italy, sitting next to the ring, waiting for my name to be called in the World Cup. And I see that the people who already went for the first round, they're going for the second one. So I'm like, they probably missed my name, right? So I asked my coach to go and check for me. So he went, and probably 5 minutes later, he comes back. He's like, hey, you know what? They didn't really miss your name. You're not on the list at all. And as a 12-year-old kid, I was just crashed, I was crying, probably cussing everybody around. I was just mad, I spent all this time, 70 years at that point, doing something what I loved, doing something what I enjoyed, and all I wanted I just wanted to have a chance to compete there. I knew I had no chance to win, but they didn't even have a chance to compete for me, So, but I remember my coach came and said, hey, you know what? I'll figure something out. So he went to the main table, to the main administration, judges, whatever, and probably 15, 20 minutes later, he came back. He's like, hey, you know what? I figured out. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, you're in championship again. I'm like, they're not going to start my category just because of, they missed my name. He's like, no, they won't. But I sign up you in a higher category by belt and by age. I'm like, you probably on drugs. You're trying to say that you sign out this village boy from Moldova competing in the World Cup on the higher level? He's like, yeah, that's what I did. I'm like, you obviously on drugs. So, but you know what? I remember my parents were there. I remember my coach was there. They're encouraging me with something. Hey, you know what? I'll just do it. Whatever. I know I'm gonna lose, but whatever. And in a couple of hours, probably in an hour, my category started. And luckily, I won the first round. I went to the second one. I won the second round. I went to the 1/8 of the final, quarter of the final. I made it to the final, and I won the World Cup in the higher category than my own. And at that point, I realized one thing: there gotta be someone up there because this is a freaking miracle. And in the next 4 years, I competed in national and different international cups, in European cups. I won numerous second, third, first places, and 4 years later, I competed in another World Cup where I brought back 2 silver medals. But what happened at the age of 16 is that I found out about this movement and organization called Athletes in Action. And I remember I was seeing at their conference, one message I heard is that was being said is that no matter how good you are on the ring, no matter how good of an athlete you are, or how many gold medals you won, or how many championships you won, it doesn't all matter unless you're a person of influence outside the ring. And it kind of stuck with me because I've been doing all this stuff just for me. And I've never shared anyone, I've never inspired anyone, I never try to do something for someone else, and this is the first time in my life actually. I said, hey, you know what? I gotta do something for other people. I gotta share what I learned through this experience. And then what really matters is not who you're on the ring, but who you're outside the ring. And later on during my life, at the age of 19, I moved to States and doing my financial degree. And at the second year of university, I couldn't find any job on campus. And the only available was photographer or videographer, which I couldn't do. But I'm like, hey, you know what? I have this, point and shoot camera. I'll try something to do with it. So I got the camera, I took some pictures, sent it to my brother-in-law, who was a photographer at that time. He edited the best he can, sent me back. I go to the interview. They're like, hey, this picture is actually good. Here's the camera. I'm like, what are you going to do with it? So for the next 2 weeks, I'm on YouTube searching for, DSLR kind of camera for dummies and trying to figure out all the aperture, shutter speeds, and ISO and all this stuff. And the same summer, my brother-in-law was in States photographing a couple of weddings, and I came along with him, and I really enjoyed it. You're getting paid to party and take pictures. So I really enjoyed it, and in half a year we started our own business. He would photograph weddings in Europe, I would photograph weddings in USA, and a couple of years later, I caught myself on this thought. I've been traveling around US, photographing the wedding. And I remember I'm driving from one wedding, just driving home and listening to the radio, and this question popped up. This guy was speaking on the radio, and he said, what do you got in your hand? Because this is your influence. Yes, you can be that guy doing that thing, making this money, but what do you actually have in your hand? Because the thing you have in your hand is what you can make influence with. And I caught myself on this thought, and the same month, I found out this organization called Help Portrait, which pretty much the whole idea was, it's a photographers getting together and photographing people who never had a picture taken or never had a possibility to have that picture printed and given them to them for free. And 3 months later, I packed my camera, I packed my bag, I got on the plane and left. And this is what happened. Our journey started from Fresno, California. We flew to Alaska, and from there to another, capital of Chukotka. It took us almost 3 days to get there due to the bad weather.
Эй, сестра, брат, подходи. Нет, это с левой стороны немножко от тебя тоже. Опа. Эй, улыбаемся, 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 улыбаемся. Раз, два, три. Эй, сюда.
Наша, давай.
Давай, давай. Улыбаемся, раз, два, три.
Ты что ее зажала? Давай
Соглашайся. Я смотрю, А это кто?
Молодцы. Еще ближе. Как у доктора, показали зубки. А подожди, я тебе красиво сделал.
Ну, давай. Маша, ты сюда смотри.
Сияр Чукотка.
Миша, Роберт, пройди с вами сфоткай.
Миша, улыбай. Не и, а
Эй!
слепи нас.
Ну, Канада далеко от нас.
Смотри, пара.
Че, обгонять будешь?
We flew to Vivek, the northernmost city in Russia, and from there we went on visit the reindeer herders in tundra. We traveled 5 hours by car and another 9.5 hours on the snowmobile, all in negative 40-degree weather. Due to the circumstances on the way there and back, all my fingers and toes were frostbitten and I lost most of my sensation for a while.
Надюшка, а ты позови его снимать.
Я только не водой, да?
Другим. Саня, вот!
Собака так смотрит на тебя. Ага.
Вот так. Я тоже.
Да, можно и так сейчас. На Аляске тоже есть коренные народы.
Там эскимос.
During the time which we spent there, I could photograph and print pictures for the people in the tribe, and it was amazing to watch their reaction from a simple photograph. People who had never had a picture taken before received photos right there in tundra.
Я лучше это погрызу.
Ну, мы здесь уже родились, просто родители мои здесь наши. Здесь родились, жили, нас здесь вырастили, мы здесь маленькими вырастали. Привыкли к оленям. Они нас одевают, кормят олени. Вот, палатка, видно? Вот торбазики. О, тепло. Хорошо. В общем, сами приезжайте сюда, увидите. Поживите здесь годик, поработайте. Да просто поживите.
You know, and when you go to this kind of trips, you think, you know, you're going to change the world, you're going to change the people, you're going to make an influence, but the people who get influenced the most is the guy right here in front of you. And what change you and influence are the stories of people you meet, the people you hear, people you get to live with. And let me read you one of the stories. It's from this trip, and my friend found this letter in the trash can, actually. And it's a girl. It says, I live in a village called Ilina. I'm 9 years old. My name is Luba. I have 2 sisters, 1 brother.
My oldest sister name is Marina, she's 12. The youngest Sveta, she's 8. My brother's name is Tolik, and he's 7 months old. I'm in the hospital right now. I want to go home really, really bad. First of all, I was in the children's bench. There was a girl named Arina from my school in the same branch with me. My granny Tanya was in the surgery bench, and the therapy branch was grandmother Ola. Now my granny Tanya, grandmother Ola, and friend Arina are in the airport flying back home, and I'm all alone here. My sister should come soon to the hospital for examination. I wish that we could be at home for New Year's. I cry a lot. I want to celebrate New Year with my mom, dad, Sveta, Marina, and Tolik, with Granny and all with the family. I really, really, really want to go home. I'm crying every day, and even right now I'm crying. I want to ask God that He could do that so I can celebrate New Year's with my family. It's 2 in the morning, December 16th. I asked God that I would celebrate New Year with my sisters, Granny, Mom, and Dad. And when you hear these stories, and the next day we went there, and you can't imagine how much it meant for me that I could put a smile on that girl's face and make her forget that, what kind of life she's living, just with a simple photograph. And I had a chance to go to Haiti, to Uganda, to US, and all these stories, which just a simple photograph brought a smile, brought some differences, brought a change in their life. And just because I heard the question, what do you got in your hand? And today, the only question I have for you, all the bright people here in this room, is that what's going to happen and how our future going to look like if everybody would use what they got in order to help people and influence people. And you know what? You don't need to have a title. You don't need to have a PhD or anything like that to be a person of influence. If you're breathing, you're an influencer. And my hope for everyone here is to discover what you're good at, what you love to do, and influence people around this world and around this country. Thank you very much.